Okay, so we know we need to know how to graph linear equations. So typically we will graph them using the method where we change an equation to y equals mx plus b form, plot the y-intercept, which will be the b, and then use the m, the slope, to do rise over run to find our next point. However, we do have another option. So it's going to kind of use the same philosophy, the fact that we need 2 points in order to graph a linear equation. The reason we need 2 is because once we find them, we can just connect them with a nice long straight line, since as we know, linear equations create straight lines. Then we also need to find, using the method with the intercepts, we need to find both your x and your y-intercept, because guess what? That's 2 points. Then, as I just pointed out up here, we can graph those 2 points and connect them with a straight line. So let's look at 2 examples with this. So I'm going to go through finding the x and y intercepts first, and then I'm going to graph them together. So let's start by finding the x and y intercepts of equation 1 and equation 2. So starting with equation 1, let's say I start with my x-intercept. I know that if I am on the x-axis, I go up or down 0, so y equals 0. So my equation becomes 2x minus 3 times 0 equals 12. So 2x equals 12, since 3 times 0 is nothing. Dividing by 2, I get x equals 6. So I have the point 6, 0. There's one of my 2 points that I need. Let's find the other one. So now I'm going to go ahead to, the other one will be my y-intercept, of course. So finding my y-intercept. So my y-intercept, if I'm on the y-axis, I go left or right 0, so x is 0. And my equation becomes 2 times 0 minus 3y equals 12. Of course, the 2 times 0 is nothing, so that cancels. Remember, the sign belongs to the number it's in front of, so negative 3y equals 12. Dividing by negative 3, I get y equals negative 4. So now I have the point 0, negative 4. So those are my 2 points that I'm going to use for example 1. My concern is once I move this down, I'm not going to be able to move it back up. But let's go ahead and try it. And then if it doesn't work, then I will do example 2 in a separate video. Okay, so let me write these points down so I don't forget them. So I have the point 0, negative 4, and 6, 0 from up here. Okay, so then let's go ahead and plot those points. So 0, negative 4, I go over 0 and down 1, 2, 3, 4. There's my y-intercept. And I have the point 6, 0. I go over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and up 0. And then from here, I'm going to go ahead and connect them with a straight line. You should use a ruler. My line probably isn't going to be very straight, just to forewarn you. But there would be the graph of my given equation above. So let's try example 2. Oh, great. Everything is going to stay in place. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing for example 2. I am going to start by finding my x-intercept. I know that if I'm on the x-axis, I go up or down nothing, so y is 0. Making my equation 4x minus 9 times 0 equals 18, which means 4x equals 18. I divide by 4. Those cancel. I'm fine with fractions, but I do always want to reduce my fraction. Since 18 and 4 can both be divided by 2, I get x equals 9 over 2. So the first point that I've just found is 9 over 2, 0. Now I'll find my y-intercept. And I know if I'm on my y-axis, I go left or right 0, so x is 0. Making my equation 4 times 0 minus 9y equals 18. 4 times 0 is 0, dropping down the negative 9y, sign belongs to the number, and dividing by negative 9, I get y equals negative 2. So the second point I just found is 0, negative 2. So those are the 2 points I'm going to plot. So I'm going to, because once I slide it down, I'm not going to see that first point. I'm going to rewrite my first point down here next to my second point. 9/2. I love fractions, but when it comes to plotting something on a number line or on a coordinate plane, a lot of times it's easier to figure out where it goes if I turn it into a decimal. I know that 9 divided by 2 is 4.5. So that is 4.5 comma 0. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and plot those. I'm going to use red for this one, so I used blue for the first equation because I'm going to put them on the same graph. So I'm going to plot 0, -2, so I go over 0, down 2. And there is my y-intercept. And then I'm going to go over 4.5 and up 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so halfway is going to be about right here. Okay, there's my x-intercept. Again, I'm going to connect them with a straight line. I apologize in advance. My line probably won't be very straight. Please make sure you are using a ruler on this step. Actually kind of impressed with that line. I hope you are too. So then from there, that's it. I've now graphed my line. So please make sure you are finding both x and y intercepts. Please make sure that when you're listing them as points, this is a mistake that I see all the time. So let me try to stop you. I all the time see people say, hey, when x is 6, y is -4, and they make that into a point. That is not true. X is 6 because y is 0. So you have to take note of that in your point. Y is -4 because x is 0. So I have to make note of that in my point. Same thing on example 2. X is 9/2 because y was 0. Okay. Y was 4.5. Excuse me, it should have been -4.5, shouldn't it have? No, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong one. Y was -2, apologize, because x was 0. So just be careful of that. And then use those 2 points to graph.